Good morning, everyone. This is Audrey with Mortgage Pros 411, Kevin Casey, and Natalie Overturf. How are you guys?
We're doing good.
Doing
We're not in
fantastic.
Italy though.
Oh
Yes,
my
not as
God.
good as you,
Okay.
Audrey.
Well, let me just say, for anyone who's watched the show before, this will not come as a huge surprise because anything could happen. However, this week is more than usual, I will say, for sure. So let's start with Natalie. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really, really appreciate it. You're brand new for us, and I am so sorry. It's a complete and total something
No
show.
problem at all. I'm really excited to be here.
Okay, so yes, I am still in Italy. And this week is not quite as good as last week because last week my family decided to go to dinner during the show, but not this week because they all just rolled in from Florence and they're on fire. So I will tell you that they had a whole bunch of ideas of things that they could do while I was doing the show. Would you like to hear them?
Go for it.
Love to.
Conga line. They were going to do the Macarena. They were going to do hula hooping on their, how shall I say it? It's a 3-letter word starting with A and with double consonants. So we saw this on some show where some lady set a world record where she had a hula hoop on her posterior, and she did, I don't even know how long she did. It was forever. So they thought it'd be funny to do that right behind me. Yep, that. Anyway, so they're really, I had somebody demonstrate how they were going to walk behind me naked or mostly naked with a cigarette hanging out of their mouth, a bottle of tequila or vodka or God knows what. And anyway, so here I am sequestered in a room far away, and it's been quite the
The
challenge to
door is
get here.
locked, I'm
So
hoping.
what?
The door is locked, I'm hoping.
Yeah, all these doors require like the most elaborate locks, like this is an old villa. I don't even know how old it is. It's beautiful, but all the locks, I can't even imagine being a locksmith in Italy. So
Be wealthy.
anyway, I will tell you, I also have, and then we will move on to things, I don't know, having to do with maybe a mortgage or something, but I have a profound appreciation for toilet seats. They are not consistently where you would expect to find them, on toilets. However, like we went to this extraordinarily beautiful, such a great dinner, amazing, and no toilet seat in the bathroom. And I met some chick
Very
from
good.
Orange County, and I said, "What the hell is up with this?" She's like, I know." So anyway,
That's really funny.
Listen, Audrey, at least you have toilets because I've been to places that don't have them there either. They just have a hole in the ground.
That is a
And
yes,
carrier.
I'm
people
aware
miss.
of that, but this is Italy. It's 2026. Let's get a grip, people.
Hmm.
All right.
Exactly
I
it.
promise to move it right along. We're going to have somebody going, when are you going to start talking about mortgages? And, eventually we'll get there. Anyway, okay. So there are a few things going on that I'm actually aware of. For instance, tomorrow we're going to have mortgage applications, as always, and new home sales. Thursday, we are going to have PCE. That'd be personal consumption expenditure. That used to be the Fed's favorite measure of inflation. Now, with our new Fed chair, we'll see. He doesn't seem to be as enamored with it as our former Fed chair. So we'll come to that in a little bit. We're also tomorrow going to have Q1 GDP, the final reading, and durable goods. So it is, PC used to be a real market mover. I don't know what it'll do tomorrow. Natalie, do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it will not be good for us. That's what I think.
Okay. Well,
I
on
think it
that
will
bright
not
note,
go in the way of interest rates. So I think people
you know
should
what? You're
lock
just a
their
little ray of
loans.
sunshine so far. Thank you for
Lock your
coming.
loans. Lock your loans. That's what I would say.
Okay,
Well, I like
Natalie,
the way
we have
she
this.
said that though. It will not get press.
What?
It will not get press. It was very well said.
Okay, so Natalie, we have a little ditty that we have been singing on this show for more than 6 years since we started this in lockdown. It goes, if you see a rate you like, lock it in.
Yes, I like that ditty. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So with all that being said, so they're expecting PCE to go from 3.8% to maybe 4% year over year on the headline, and the courts either stay at 3.3 or go to 3.4. That's excluding food and energy. But that energy component of core is extraordinarily important right now because it's really driving a lot of what's going on in our economy. So we now have oil though at 73 and a half, 73.50 a barrel, which is something. The peace deal is maybe fine. We'll see. The Strait of Hormuz is open, but it's not quite normal. So, the 10 years down to 4.48 today, last I looked. So I don't know, it's better a little bit, but the rates aren't really moving much, right? Natalie?
No,
Yeah, I think they're going to stay in a really tight range. I do, unless we see something that's really going to move the market. So, and I think our biggest challenge will be that some of this inflationary pressure is going to lag with
Yeah.
the oil prices, even though oil is coming down. I think we'll have a few months of of stubborn high inflation numbers coming out. And Warsh was clear that he really is still focused on a 2% inflation. So, but I do think rates will, I'm hoping will stay in a real pretty steady range.
Yeah. I think that anyone who's expecting some big plunge and a big refi boom is insane. Let's just go with
Yeah, it's
insane,
not
shall we?
happening this year, probably.
Yeah. Well, and especially because, okay, there's so much to talk about. So the Fed, I mean, we had a Fed meeting, right? It was Kevin Warsh's first Fed meeting as chair, and he is doing things different. So we've talked about this on previous shows that he is talking about perhaps getting away from PCE as a focus. But he mentioned price stability 31 times in his statement, and he mentioned labor 5 times. So maybe he's kind of, concerned about that, which I mean, that's a good thing, right? Being concerned about inflation. So we'll see how that goes. They're talking about some hikes, and it was interesting because the dot plot that they have, every year every meeting they pull, every other meeting they pull the committee and they see who thinks we're going to do what in the next 12 months. So half of them now think that we're going to have a hike this year.
That's right.
Five
Nine of them,
expect
I
that we're
think,
not going to
right?
have any, and one expects a cut. Anyone want to guess who that might have been? We've had one holdout for cuts for quite some time now. But the rate stayed unchanged. It was a good consensus. They're committed to a 2% inflation target. There's no more forward guidance. He doesn't think that's valuable. They dropped the easing bias, so they're not talking about easing in the future. So that's a big change. And the summary of economic projections were they upgraded the inflation expectations. No kidding, right? So, I mean, at least they're facing this stuff head on. I mean, I appreciate that a lot, right?
Well, and inflation is just one part of it, right? We've got deficit, we've got a lot of other things that play into this, but I believe that it could be good for interest rates for him to stay focused on the inflation number and keeping inflation down. And even if there was a hike, I actually do not think that would correlate necessarily with the longer term rates going up. So I actually think it could be good for interest rates if the hike is necessary. It could just show the commitment of the Fed to keep inflation under control. So I actually think it could be a good thing.
I am completely with you on that because, first of all, historically, like back, I haven't seen an update on this lately, but half the time when they raised, the rates went up, but mortgage rates, but half the time they went down.
That's
And
right.
because there
That's
was
right.
so much concern about him being a puppet or him not having a mind of his own, if he comes in and says, look, we're going to do whatever needs to be done to make sure that we are taking care of the economy the way a Fed should do it, that's positive, right? Kevin, were you
Absolutely.
going to say
Yeah.
something?
there's two things so I want to address what you just said. The thought being that if he does raise rates for the point of reducing inflation, then that would be good for interest rates. And therefore, long run,
Good.
it's better versus it, like you said, if he falls in line with, oh, let's drop the rates, that just means looks like a puppet. The other thing
Yep.
too, though, I was looking at the governor votes and who wanted to raise rates and who didn't want to raise rates. And there always seem to be two outliners on every poll. One to raise rates higher and one to lower rates lower than the rest of the gang. All the guests are in the kind of a pack, but there's always one who wants to rise and one that wants to low. And I was thinking, who are these idiots? And then I thought about, you know what? You always need two contrarians on your board.
Yep.
So they have something to say that might be of interest that the rest of the board might be missing. And every once in a while, if you've been on a board, wait, this person does have a point. Maybe we're missing something, but most of the time you're not.
Well, I think it's important though that they don't all agree. Like, don't just
Yeah,
fall into lockstep and do what everyone else is doing. Have a mind of your own, even if it seems nuts. I mean, you never
right.
know, right?
Right. Well, the other
So,
thing too is there are different territories and different parts of the country are performing differently. So,
That's
yeah.
right. Very market driven. I agree with that.
So, Natalie, you are a divisional vice president with CMG Mortgage. You are a longtime mortgage veteran. You've been in the trenches more than 30 years, and you were a very high producing loan officer. So that is part of what I loved when I heard you speak and became aware of you, is because you had such a great perspective of the market, real common sense, down to earth, understanding the actual business from the beginning to the end. And so I find that really valuable in these conversations, which it's often lacking with some people. They,
Well, thank you.
I
I'll take
mean,
that as a compliment.
it's a huge compliment
Yes,
because,
thank you.
again, it's really, I think it's important to have people with a voice who understand the whole process and aren't just living in this isolation where they're focused on nothing but money 100% of the time
Mhm.
and how many more, notches they can have in the bedpost. You know what I mean? And so it is more important that we are focused on the borrowers and how do we have a healthy mortgage system that everyone is making some money, profitable, but not necessarily, out of control. So tell us a little bit from your perspective about what's going on in the market and what you're seeing as you are working with your LOs and, out in the trenches.
Yeah, well, I would say a couple of things about that. Number one, there are still people outperforming the market, right? So to speak, loan officers who are really doing some extraordinary things. I have a few guys on my team. Danny Meyer, I think he's my top producer up in Seattle. Danny's already funded 25 million this month. The month's not over. So we have some originators that are just really, taking advantage of the opportunities in the market. And so that's not to say that it's an easy market because it's not. And in fact, I'm the divisional over the Northwest territory for CMG, and I did come out of production. I started in ops, but I moved to production very quickly and kind of, I'm the story from the receptionist to the loan officer to the branch manager and now to senior leadership. So I've really had a path kind of in every seat. And I think what is really separating top originators right now from the pack is understanding that deals are hard, loans are hard, but really finding their voice in the market to not be afraid to go after those loans, really embracing non-QM and some of the more niche outlier products so that they're not all competing for the vanilla 30-year fixed loan. They're really focused on education. And a lot of them are finding niches, the riches in the niches. I really like that
mm,
saying because I think loan officers think that if they tie themselves to a niche, that they're not going to get any other business. And I have a really good example. I have a gentleman who is works on my team. His name's Brady Thomas. He's with LaSalle. They're a DBA
We
of
know him.
yeah,
we know him really well.
Great. Yeah,
Brady's
great
and
Brady's
guy.
amazing.
yeah,
Brady's been on our show too.
Brady's oh yeah, he's so awesome. Like he joined my
Yeah.
team about a year and a half ago. And Brady's whole thing is the two home tango, right? The buy before sell. And he does a lot of marketing around it. If you go to his social media, it's in every signature, his email signature. And some would say, well, is that all the business that you want? And it is, it's just educating his real estate agents on the type of business that he specializes in. But when he talks to customers, he obviously offers lots of different options. So I feel like sometimes loan officers are afraid to really niche down, but it gives you an opportunity to separate yourself in the market. I've seen a lot of our top producers do that very, very well. And there's business to be had. There is for sure. Is it hard? Yes. And I saw a stat that said, I think, was it the top 20% of LOs are doing 70% of the business right now. I just saw that
Yeah.
stat, which isn't surprising. It's the old 80/20
No.
rule, not quite there, but excuse me.
Yep. Well, the other thing I like about Brady is he is not one of those guys who's just hyper focused on himself. He's very open and sharing. Like he'll tell
Very
you
abundant.
what he's
Very
doing.
abundant. Hmm.
Yes, like he'll tell you everything he's doing to be successful. he doesn't try to hide it or keep it to himself. He wants everyone to
Yeah.
be successful. And
Yeah.
I love, love,
He
love
was
that.
just
It's
on the Momentum Builders webinar. They just had, I don't know if you guys caught that last week, where he showed his playbook on there. He's going to be speaking at Sales Mastery this year. So
yeah,
um,
no, he's
very
great. So
sharing. So I just
let's go
find
back.
that's a really good example of a top person in our industry. Brady's already closed 100 million this year. He's on pace to do 200 million this year in what we would consider a very challenging market.
Yeah.
And it just shows it's possible, right? It's absolutely possible.
And not only is he doing it, but he's doing it from another state.
Yes, because
Well,
he lives in
yes.
Boston. That's right.
Yeah. His
Yeah,
wife
it's
is, I believe, taking some degree or something like that, and he's joined
She's
her.
a professor at Tufts. So
Yes.
she is, so they moved their family there while she's teaching there. So
And yet
yeah,
he's still doing
pretty
a whole
cool.
lot of loans in California.
Yep. All of his business is in Cal.
Yeah.
I think it is the takeaway for everybody who's listening is there are no excuses. Like you can there's always going to be some obstacle, right? And so if you're going to wallow in, okay, it's so hard and this is why I can't do it, well, that's a choice. It's a choice. I mean, I tell my kids that all the time. I'm like, these are choices. Like, are you going to just sit there and, and make an excuse, or are you going to just figure out how to make it happen? And so we all have the choice every day when we get up and get going. And, what are we going to do? Okay, let's go back to Mr. 25 million a month. Holy schmoly. What is
Mhm.
his deal?
Well, Danny focuses mostly on, he has a huge database and he has a very solid realtor um, following. One of the coolest things that Danny did, I don't, yeah, he wouldn't care if I share. I mean, there are no secrets in this industry. That's what I believe. It's whether
Oh,
execution
for
is the
sure.
key. I mean, people
Yeah,
give
it's all about
away
execution.
everything all the time. You can get on LinkedIn or, find webinars constantly. Everybody's sharing what they're doing. So one of the cool things that that Danny did was he hired a coach for his team that is a real estate coach who coaches real estate agents. And I thought this was so interesting because this coach who coaches realtors is now teaching our loan officers what realtors are looking for and what they need help on and how we can come alongside our agent partners. I'm like, how brilliant is that? And so, I mean, I was just looking at fundings last night, and I want to say we have 7 or 8 LOs in that branch, and Danny's branch has already funded 50 million this month. So Danny's half of it, but I've got another, 5 or 6 LOs that have funded a cumulative, and the month's not out yet. So my guess is we'll wind up about 60 million in this one branch with this team. Now they are a very high performing team, and not everybody wants to do that kind of volume, but I just thought that's a really out of the box way to approach coaching with your team to figure out what are the hacks, what are the things I need to be talking about with my realtor partners. So I thought that was pretty cool.
So can you tell us what the process is in a team like that as far as who does what? Like is Danny also processing the loans, or is he really, once he brings it in, do
No,
you have people who are like getting the
yeah,
conditions? Are they
yeah.
doing, are processors processing? Because I'm seeing a lot of processors. Yeah, it's
So
been a
the way
shift.
I mean, I am always amazed how many different ways there are to skin a cat in our industry. Like, we're all selling, the same product in the day, but how we get from A to Z can be a lot different. So I'll speak to Danny's team, but I would say this is the majority of our top producing teams operate this way. Danny originates the loan. He's got a team of assistants and processors that then his assistant's pulling the file through, scrubbing it for guidelines, pulling credit, getting the file back to Danny so he can price and have conversations. Danny is always having the conversation with the client. He does not,
Mhm.
hand that off. But then he's got his assistant that works with his processor, and I mean, they work hand in hand to make sure they're basically taking that file from, from app to close. And Danny is inserted, at key points in the transaction, but he stays out of the weeds that way because you can't do that kind of volume if you're,
No,
if you're doing every little nitty detail. So yeah, that's how his team operates. He's got a big team, obviously, if you're doing that kind of volume. So that's dedicated to him and his team and his branch. So and a lot of his LOs plug into that system. Some of them don't, because Danny's not like a stacked team. That's just Danny's production, and then he has standalone loan officers that work on his team that are producing separately.
So when why wouldn't a processor, okay, not a processor, if an LO sees someone being that successful and they're that close to it, why wouldn't they plug into that system, I
Well,
wonder?
it's an interesting question, but it goes back to there's different ways to do this business. And he has a certain format that he uses to take a path that he takes the loan in. And some loan officers want to do it their way, right? And have their assistant work a certain way. And so, when he has kind of the assembly line, I don't want to make it sound, that rigid, but a path that his team works on. And so I have a couple of LOs in that branch that have their own assistants that, don't plug into that particular
Interesting.
way of doing it. Yeah. And they're
I'm
having a
thinking
good time. Mhm.
back in the day when I was killing it, and I had a couple of other LOs that were near me. They were also killing it, and I kind of came in and I just started basically replicating what they were doing. But you can't exactly replicate it because the people on your team have different skill sets.
Yeah, and I always say we're snowflakes. Some of the guys get, offended by that. I'm not saying like girly. I'm just saying like we're all so unique. We all have a unique footprint that we put on every borrower and transaction. I had my own way of doing things when I originated, and so everybody brings a different, flavor to the sauce.
Mhm.
But when it comes to the fundamentals, what I'm seeing right now is a couple things. Number one, mindset. It's, our mindset that we're going to push through, to your point, Audrey, to persevere through the hard things, do the hard things anyway. We never feel like it, right? Making those calls and going to do the hard things. Like you get
Uh-huh.
motivated for a minute and then you're halfway through slogging through the calls and you're like, oh. So, mindset is a big part of it, taking care of what's up here so that you can, you know,
It
keep
was
yourself intrinsically motivated to keep doing
yeah,
the things that matter.
eat the frog first is
Yeah.
what the saying is.
I
Yes.
love that book. A great little book.
Eat the frog first.
No,
Well,
I do
we're
it regularly.
skinning
It's like,
cats,
oh
we're
God, it's a
eating
warm
frogs.
path.
Yes, and all kinds of stuff going on, or animal cruelty. Oh my
I know we're
gosh.
gonna have PETA after us in a minute. Jeez Louise.
Well, for those
All
who
right.
don't know, eat the frog first means that one task you do not want to do, that's the one
Yeah.
you should do first. Um,
Yep. Yeah.
get it out of the way.
100%. Well, I mean, that's why I always want the bad news first, get it over with. So same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we're going to come back to more of that, but I wanted to talk about Alan Greenspan. So Alan Greenspan was our second longest Fed chair. He died at 100 years old. I didn't realize he was that old, but when I
Oh.
was thinking about it, I'm like, he's looked that old for about as long as I can remember him, which is about 3.5 decades. So, I guess it's kind of remarkable that he lived that life. And what I thought was interesting is so he he took us through a lot of different issues, trials,
Mm-hmm.
different things, and including but not limited to the meltdown. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a post on LinkedIn the other day basically saying it was his fault, the meltdown, that he had basically talked, not basically, if I say basically one more time, you just slap me. Anyway, he had told everyone, don't worry about a 30-year fix anymore. Just go have adjustables and that'll be fine. And then that blew up in everyone's face. And honestly, I don't remember him saying that. I certainly never guided my clients that way. I was so careful with the 5-1 arms, etc. And so, do you have a take on like what is his legacy? Because it seems to be all over the place. Some people think he was amazing and wonderful. And one of the things that I do like that he did was when he made mistakes, he owned them,
Mm-hmm.
which you're going to screw up, be honest about it, right? But what are your thoughts on Alan Greenspan and what we could learn from him
Well,
potentially?
Alan Greenspan was the Fed chairman when I was originating. So for most of my origination career, and I think as an industry, you can have mixed feelings about Alan Greenspan in a way
Right.
because number one, he was a dove, right? And so his answer was to lower rates. And so I would say that created a low rate environment for many of us that were originating during that time. And I had some of my best production year. I mean, 2003 was like a huge production year for me. So
Yeah.
that was kind of the big drop in, had that big drop in rates in '03. So I do think it's easy to tag him for what happened in the meltdown. There is plenty of blame to go around on that one. Have you ever read The Big Short or watched the movie The Big Short? If
Yep.
nobody
Oh
has
yeah.
watched, if you have not watched that movie, that explains what happened during the meltdown better than anything I've ever read. I read the book first and then watched the movie. They did a really good job of putting that book into a movie because it's a lot of very complex topics. But there was so much blame to go around as far as the securitization, AAA bonds with 580 FICOs. Like we were not presenting to the investors who were purchasing those mortgage-backed securities what they were actually getting.
No,
And
not at
that
all.
is in the end what created to me, not just the low environment, but really, kind of how the investors were overly optimistic about what they had. And as soon as the market started to shift, there was no place to go but down. So um, lots of players I feel like you could place the blame on, including the real estate community. I don't think the real estate community gets enough of and I say realtors, and I would say this to my realtor friends, they would shop lenders until they could find somebody who would find the loan for the person that really shouldn't have been getting a loan. And so
Yep.
we
Yep.
put a lot of people in bad loans that it should have just never happened.
I was during that time I started working in-house for a real estate office, and I had some realtor like pressuring me, saying either get this loan close with this client, or we're just going to blackball you.
They
And
take it to Countrywide for the fast and easy, fast
yeah,
and
Yeah.
easy.
and so I ended up quitting that office. It was like, yeah, this is not
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. I do think there's a lot of blame to go around on that one, but I would certainly not, back to Alan Greenspan, place it all on Alan Greenspan's shoulders. I think he did a good job for a lot
Yeah,
of
no, that was
time.
2003, 2004, two best years. So yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, he didn't think there was a housing bubble. He wasn't the only one. So
Well,
yeah.
it
yes, I was
was,
gonna say.
you know,
Oops.
but it's so easy to criticize someone for getting it wrong, and it's so difficult to get it right. And we have had this conversation many times. When we started doing this 6+ years ago, I mean, we had the conversation like, maybe one of us wanted to make projections. I'm like, maybe one of us said not a chance because it blows up in your face. And then you're noticed
Well,
the
I
ding
just
dong.
saw something that said last year when they were looking at like all the forecasters, like who forecast what's going to happen in the stock market and interest rates, when they went back, they did an analysis of everybody's forecasts. Like it was 50-50. Like them got it right and half of them got it wrong. So, I mean, really, that's about how accurate. I mean, look at Barry. We all love Barry, but how often is Barry wrong? So it's a very
But
difficult thing.
if you
You're just
ask
never
Barry,
going to
he's never
time the
wrong.
market perfect.
You know what? I'm
Never
going to
going to
say
time
that
it
is
perfectly.
not true because I have heard him say, and you can see it on that man's face. Actually, he comes on our show periodically and but when you're watching his updates, he's really you can see how stressed he is when things are going to, crap
Oh
and
yeah, it's
he's
hard.
invested. He actually cares. He really does.
I
I
agree.
He
really
I
does.
agree.
believe he
We
cares.
love
And
Barry.
so
I
we
love
do.
Barry. He came to
Yeah.
our
I do too.
sales summit in
So
Houston this year and did an amazing job. Yeah, he is a huge contributor to our industry. So this is
well
I'm just
and
saying, like we all get it. Like nobody is right 100% of the time. You're just going to be
yeah.
wrong some of the time.
So he's won or they've won. And he's again, this is something else he does. He's really he has this team and he really highlights them and he shares the credit and he really makes sure that everyone understands it's not a one-man show. So
Mhm.
anyway, he will say, we blew that. And here's why, and it's hard. So I think as LOs, like we have our own gut instincts. I know I
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
Sometimes I listen, sometimes I forget to listen. It's not great. So, and then you get that smack around where you're reminded, okay, don't play around with this stuff because, all of a sudden maybe we're dropping bombs on another country and the market goes to HE double toothpicks.
Right.
So it's tricky. Like all of this is tricky. But they've won the Crystal Ball Award where they take the top 150 economists in the country and they've won it. Like they've been the best like multiple years. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Impressive. Very impressive.
ultimately though, we really have to guide our clients to, with caution. And you can't
I
be telling
agree.
them what to do. You can tell them what's going on in the market, and look, this is what we're expecting. This is why we talk about these things on Thursday, on Tuesdays. Okay, on Thursday we're going to have PCE, and what could that do, and be ready for it so that they have the understanding. And then the other thing too that was a big driver for us in the beginning was you've got these headlines, and the headlines are complete garbage a lot of times. And we've talked to reporters
Yes.
and asked them, okay, what the, because if you actually read a lot of those articles, if you get, 4 paragraphs in, you might actually be getting the right information, but nobody's reading that far. So it is a function of,
fourth paragraph, Audrey, you want me to read to the fourth paragraph? Oh my
I
God.
know,
Well, as they
I,
say, if it bleeds, it leads, right? Like
Yeah.
the negative headline is what attracts people's attention. So that's what they're going to write about. That's what they're going to do. And
it
it's
But
very
it
is.
is funny when
misleading.
you read the
Very
headline and
misleading.
then you read the article and it's like, wait, this is completely
Yeah.
article is complete opposite to the headline. So how did
Yeah.
this happen?
It's
Right.
very
But again, when they
distorting.
read a headline that says that foreclosures are up 175%, then they are either dancing in the streets thinking that they're going to get the deal of the freaking century if they just wait for it, or they are thinking of bolting and getting rid of their house completely and just walking away from it because it's all going to hell anyway. So it
Well,
is
I
so
had
important that we know the real story and we're able to help them to, figure all that out.
so there
What were you
was
gonna say?
someone shared this article with me that um, Lawrence Yun put out some stats about where home prices are going in the future. And but the headline was, "Oh my God, the average U.S. home will be $1 million," and it's like no one can afford this. And it was like going on all the rates of, and I started digging into it. It's like, first of all, the average home price wasn't $1 million; it was only $900,000, and that's only by 2050. And so it's like, wait, where are these numbers coming from? And
Right,
I
right.
started digging in more, and I'm like, wait, in order for homes to be that price, people have to be able to afford them. Because if homes tomorrow all doubled in price, no one could afford it because their incomes haven't doubled in price in that short of pain. But over the next 25 years, basically, I would expect incomes to be able to afford $1 million home. I don't see how they could not. Even if your income only rises by 2 to 3%, it's the numbers still would work for that. And that's kind of
Mhm.
what Lawrence Yune's numbers were saying was, hey, if the economy just grows at a 2 to 3% rate, we're going to be in a good state, and your home 25 years from now will be double what it's worth today, um, just with a slow rate of inflation, which is what you want because that's what the
Right.
Fed's
That's right.
targeting, 2 to 3% rate of return, right? Or inflation. Well, 2 to 3% inflation, that means your home will be worth $1 million sometime. So that's a good thing. The same thing goes as, now I don't know where you're based, but we're based in the San Francisco Bay Area. And people are always like, oh my God, homes are so expensive in San Francisco. How can anyone afford them? And it's like, people afford them. That's why they're expensive. In
Well,
Mhm.
fact, there were
we have
stats
to
out recently that San Francisco had the most affordable homes. More people who live in the San Francisco area can afford a house than in any other area. So
Right.
therefore, they're not out expensive, out of control. They're within the price range of the people. I can't tell you how many people are coming in and making offers of $2 million homes right now. And I run the math. It's like, oh, yeah, totally. I got a 31 back end ratio. We're good.
Yeah, I do think it's a tale of two housing markets. I was at the Hawaii MBA last week, and it was really interesting, really seeing kind of the separation out with people who already own real estate and have jobs and are able to afford to buy that house versus that buyer that's trying to break into the market who, has, the side gig economy, right, where they have the second job and we may have variable income and trying to figure out the down payment and interest rates have affected affordability. They just have, people want to say it's the prices, but absolutely oh gosh, who put out the report yesterday that showed that interest rates are one of the main reasons that affordability has been impacted for first-time homebuyers. So I do agree with you, there's a lot of people that can still afford homes, but we definitely have a challenge in front of us with that first time home buyer, really crack into this market, especially in the higher price markets. And I have California in my division. I actually live in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, which Idaho is probably um, one of the more affordable states in the Northwest. Coeur d'Alene, not necessarily, because we're kind of a small pocket little resort town, but Boise has had a massive influx, these last 5 years of people moving into Boise because they can afford a lot more home, there
Mhm.
than they can, say, in California. So we see, populations moving around even to find affordability options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I
I
saw the stats from that report you're talking about, and
Mhm.
yes, the interest rate numbers, the costs have really the biggest jump.
Yeah.
But there's other costs that have jumped up a lot too. Home maintenance and home repairs.
Insurance. Yes.
Um, those
insurance,
those numbers have jumped
insurance,
up a lot.
Yep.
But
The
property taxes
HOA,
in every state other than California,
yes.
HOA dues for condos. In
HOA
fact,
dues, big time. Yep.
Hawaii's
Mhm.
condo market has been significantly impacted. In fact, I can't remember if it was it Maui? Like condo sales are down 23% year
Hmm.
to date. So
Condos
um,
are rough. I
condos
mean,
are
they're
hard.
really rough. I was talking to a lender. They said they had that condos fell out at least 20% of the time because the HOAs, ended up being non-warrantable, which is, we've done
Yeah,
many shows on this and it is a
so
huge issue.
hard.
But
And the limited review, I mean, I understand why they're eliminating it, but the problem is the HOAs aren't ready for it. They need to give
no.
some lead time for that. And I'm hoping, that somebody gets to to Fannie and kind of talk some sense into them, maybe extending that timeline. Because is that September that's happening? Elimination of limited rate. It's coming really, really
Yeah, I
quick.
can't remember when it's coming
Yeah.
either. But again, I actually don't mind this whole process for buyers. I have an issue with it for people who already own in the HOAs
Right.
because they're
Right.
really stuck. I mean,
Very.
really stuck. And so I like that buyers are aware of what they're buying into. I don't love it that the people who are already in there are really SOL sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they're so caught off guard. Like I had a situation recently where I mean the seller's like, "Can I sue the HOA?" Because they told our buyer from the very beginning. I called, the realtor called, "Oh yeah, all the work's been done. Yep, we got the report. Yep, everything's great." And by the time they finally sent it over, we're in contract, and the whole thing blew up. We took it all the way to Fannie, and just to find out that it was, yeah, we have a problem. So the seller is really in a terrible spot, and they don't understand it. And so I
They
have
blame
a
us.
client. Pardon me?
They blame us.
Yes, the
No, they
lender
don't
gets
blame
the
us.
blame.
Oh,
They're not
Well, a
blaming
lot of
me.
times they do.
They are not blaming me. I'm like, I
I had
explained
a
the hell out
realtor
of that.
just going off. It was a listing agent, and he just kept going, "This is not a problem." I'm like, dude, this is a problem. Like,
Well, so here's the thing. Those people will eventually be educated because I've had realtors say, like I had this woman, she's like, "Oh, well, that is not a problem in Southern California." I'm like, I'm sorry. Are you, what is wrong with you? Anyway, and so for so long, the realtors thought that this is a lending problem. This is a mortgage problem. They did not think that it was on them or the sellers at all. And they're finding out that was incorrect. I
yeah.
mean, really incorrect.
Well,
So
Unfortunately,
I,
yeah.
the one I helped had an issue with a listed seller's agent. We needed flood insurance, and he's like, "There's no possibility of flood." Blah 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 blah. And the client sent me a photo 6 months after the close of the entire grounds completely flooded.
Wow.
really?
Yeah.
Wow. Um, Yeah. So I'm finding that a lot of realtors, and especially once they start having listings that are condos, they are very interested in how much we know
Yes, I
because
agree.
they are not able to sell these things and they
Mhm.
are taking a hit. They're staying on the market longer, they're falling out. It's an issue. And they're finally getting it one by one, little by little.
Well, that's
Yeah.
so interesting you say that, Audrey, because our number one request right now, we have a really amazing gentleman who runs our condo department that's very knowledgeable. He works with Fannie directly on, when things come up, trying to work through the kind of the spot issues that we have. And the number one request we have is for him to do classes for our realtors to educate them right now. So we're doing a lot of those, just trying to get the information to the agents so that they're prepared. And I think it's a great tip for loan officers, put together a class for your agents on what they need to be looking for and ready for.
Yeah. We have a company that we've had come on the show a couple of times and they've given you know, advice, and they will advise on whether or not something is going to work or what they need to do, et cetera, et cetera. So the again, this is back. It always goes back to us being educators,
Right.
making sure we're not just bumping and grinding along, that we're actually caring about our clients, that we are helping them understand our referral partners are actually partners. And if somebody is going to blame you on a transaction, they can suck it. I'm so over it. I am so over it. I I'm like 36 years in. I'm like, dude, get out. There are not enough hours in the day, and I want to help people who want to be helped, who appreciate your professionalism, who understand. And at this point, if somebody starts talking right, I'm like, Google me. Just look at the reviews, and you decide if you want to go chase the lowest eighth. Knock yourself out.
Go
Yeah.
Google your rocket LO and see how that turns
Yeah,
out for
exactly.
you.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, so ridiculous.
Yeah.
So, anyway, bottom line is I think that we have this opportunity right now is we've got a bunch of people in the mortgage industry who all they can think about is how are we going to scale? How are we going to make more money? How can we get another corporate jet? It's I'm so sick of it. And so I'm like, let's focus on our borrowers. Let's help people one at a time or 25 million at a time, whatever. And I
Well,
mean,
I here's what I would say to that is number one, everybody is different on where they want to be in their business, right? And I
yep,
really sit in no judgment around that. I have some amazing originators that do $1 million a month that I love that have worked for me for 20 years, and that's where they want to be, and that it's a happy place for them. And then I have these high performers like Danny and Brady who want to conquer the world and, you know, be number one. I think there's
yep,
room for people who are true professionals of their craft and treat this as a full-time job and are educated and want to do the right thing. That
yeah,
is who should be in our business.
yes, yes, yes,
I think the day, in my humble opinion, and I mean this like, I don't, this is no judgment here. I want everybody to hear that. This is not me saying that people are bad and wrong, but the days of an originator just hanging a license, do 2 deals a year, it's just, I think it's coming to an end. I just think that the top guys that want to scale, as you put it, and there it can be scaling is not necessarily a bad thing. It depends on how you do it.
right.
Right.
Well, if you're Danny and you're still the person who's interfacing with the borrowers and you actually care about your bar, like I love that story so much. He's doing it right.
And Brady's the
He's
same way, right? A lot of those guys
exactly.
are,
Yes. And we
yes,
know that.
they're the
So,
face. Yep.
yes, do it
Yeah,
that way.
there's lots of
I'm
great
not
ways.
talking about them. I'm
Yeah.
I'm talking about the companies who are just like, "Oh, and now we're going to do this and we're going to eliminate this person." And I mean, it's all and you can hear them. You hear them, Natalie. You hear them
I
too.
do. That is
They're
not
at the
my, I will
culvert.
say that is not my leadership style. I do think I actually, do you guys know who Katie Shive is? You should have her on if
Mm-mm.
you haven't. She's amazing. She coaches on AI and technology and she's helping me build out a brand book to use with my social media. And she asked me, so we did a 90-minute session where she's getting all this information to put into, my brand. But asked me, what's your leadership philosophy? Like in one sentence, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a really hard question to answer. But when I boil it down, if I had one thing to say, it would be the nice girl or guy can finish first. Like we can be good
Yeah.
stewards, we can be kind,
Yes.
we can treat each other well internally and externally, right? We don't work for the same companies, but you guys are great. And there's more than enough business to go around. I don't want to say it like
Yep.
kumbaya, but I'm just saying like we don't have to be like this. We
Yes.
can be good humans and respectful on this journey. So we don't have to be the chest pumping, take each other down. Like, to me,
Yes.
that's a very unfulfilling way to do this business. So I agree
I
with you.
could not agree
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on our Road to Housing Act that seems to be about to pass? Do you think it's going to do anything good?
I'm trying to think what's in there. We were just talking about it at Hawaii MBA. I think there's some good things in there. I do. Is it going to be the massive, change agenda that everybody wanted? No. And part of that is because number one, there's not enough political will to get things like that passed right now. If you're going to actually, there's so much compromise that has to happen. Um, and you just go to where you can get the wins, right? So I do think there's a few things in there that will be very good for us, but is it going to be anything life-changing for our industry? I don't think so. And it was interesting because last week I was in at Hawaii MBA and Mitch Kiter was there and Rob Chrisman and Bob Nemi, and they gave some really good industry updates and some of the legislative updates. And they do not think that Fannie and Freddie going private is anywhere on the
Yeah.
horizon anytime soon, just not happening. Just there's, it's not anywhere in the top 10, priorities for, and same with LO comp, like you have to overturn that, to have new rules written, they just don't see it happening. It makes a lot of sense, right? We all struggle with the LO comp rule from Dodd-Frank, but they really do not think anything is going to happen with that. RESPA
Well,
reform,
we
any
were
RESPA
we were
reform, not on the table.
and we were
No
very
respite either.
involved with the legislation to get the trigger leads banned.
That was huge. That was a
Yeah,
big one.
but
Yeah.
that took years. We started
Yeah.
that back in 2013, and it
Yeah.
took 13 years to get it
Yeah.
done. And it
Yeah.
was such a no-brainer. It's like, how can you be against this?
Yeah.
Well, okay, I can tell you what because I remember, and I'm sure you do too, Kevin.
Oh, I do.
We
I remember what
walked
their thoughts was.
we
They mostly
walked
thought we didn't want the
into
competition.
we walked into legislators' offices, and it was after the meltdown, and we were the bad guys, 100%. It
Oh,
was all
yeah.
our fault. We are the reason this all happened, and the only reason we did not want trigger leads was because we didn't want to have anyone trying to take those loans from us. We wanted it all for ourselves. It was all about us.
Right.
Oh my God. So anyway, yeah, that was where it all started. And that was a million years ago. And I thought it was really interesting because as we went through the years and year after year, NAM would drop a trigger lead bill and then it would go nowhere or you think it was about to go somewhere, but then it went nowhere. And it was just so frustrating.
Well,
And I
one
kept
good
saying,
thing I think came out of that is soft pulls, right? Because I think the popularity of soft pulls, I mean, I think the soft pull is really good for the consumer.
Mhm.
And I think we probably wouldn't have gotten there on soft pulls if it wasn't for so that's the only good thing that happened with the trigger leads happening.
well, but
Is like
now they're the
we
same
finally
price
went
as a
soft pulls.
real credit.
Oh
So
no,
like,
it's insane. It's
I
insane.
mean, that part is just so ridiculous too. But anyway, bottom line is it took the industry coming together. And I always say this, like why, like we should have more cohesion between every part of the business, and we don't. Everyone's isolated. You got LOs, then you got the MBA, and you got the C-suite, you got the IMBs, then you got the banks, and then you got the brokers, and then I'm like, oh my God, people, there aren't enough of us. If we could just play nice in the sandbox together, everything would be better, not just for the consumer, but for us. It'd be great. But no,
I would
no.
say on that, right now, 85% of all purchases are being done by IMBs in this country. So
Yeah.
if you're going to align yourself with an organization to get involved, it should be more PAC and MBA, because that's where we really are getting traction in Washington right now. So if you're a broker, there's different, but you could be a broker and a member of the Mortgage Bankers Association. So that's an industry for all. So I do think just with some of the traction we've been getting recently in Washington with the MBA and our lobby, that it's time well spent. Time well spent if you get involved.
Well, we have been very active in camp and NAM and so it again, that's more for the smaller guys, right?
Yes.
And but it can be very frustrating because it's like, all right, whoever gets there with the biggest mouth and the most money, and guess who has the most money? It's not the LOs. So it is, yeah, it's interesting out there. That's for sure. Yeah, but do something, have
Yeah,
a voice.
exactly. I mean, if you can't complain if you're not participating, that's the way I look at it.
Exactly. Well, you
Oh, I
can,
love
but
that
it's
line.
more
Well, you
annoying than if,
can, but I don't take a
yeah.
lot of stock in your complaint if you're not willing to
Yeah,
get
it's
involved.
very, very annoying. So, okay, so here's some good news. You ready? Pending home
Wait, you have
sale
some
for
good
May.
news?
What?
Some good news?
I do. I do. I mean, God, give me a break. First of all, I had a little I don't know if you saw my brain start glitching while you were talking about, okay, I've now forgotten because I was in the sun way too long today, 96 degrees, and I was a billy
You look
goat
like
all
you
over
could
the
have gotten a little sun.
Coliseum and Palatine Hill. I mean, I was sweating. My whole head, it was a disaster. So I've been sitting here staring at Natalie with her perfect, beautiful hair.
Oh,
And I'm like, and I look like I stuck my finger in a light socket, and I literally just like scraped some. I'm like, I looked at my sister and I said, okay, because I know, I mean, she will tell me the truth. Like that. So I said, all right, look at my face. What do I need to do? And she
you look
goes,
fantastic.
she gave me a short list. So I was able to be semi-presentable anyway. So then we got Natalie here. Oh, for God's sake. Anyway, okay. So back to good news. Ready? Pending home sales for May, signed contracts on existing homes were up 3.8%. They were expecting to get 0.8%. We're up 4 months in a row. And every
Nice.
region had gains. Every region had gains. Did you hear that?
That's great. No, I've been busy.
It's great, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And then Cotality's rent index, which we know that the rents in the inflation numbers are always lagging, but for April they were up 1.4% year over year. Last year they were up 2.8% year over year. So again, eventually it has been slowly getting into the inflation numbers, so it's not quite so, you know, I mean, you've seen it, right, Natalie, that the rents were, they'd gone through the roof, and it took forever to have them come down and reflect in those CPI numbers. Or there's a couple reports it's in and one that it's not. Anyway, but what we learned one day was the reason there's such a lag is they only pull a sixth of the country at a time.
Oh, that's interesting.
That was
I don't think I knew
that was mind blowing. When we figured that out, we're like, oh my God, that totally makes sense. But it's frustrating, you know? So anyway,
I had a quick alert for loan officers. I don't know if you got it over there in Rome, but did you get that NMLS alert yesterday?
Okay, we've all been getting fake NMLS. We've been talking about fake NMLS emails for months.
I know, but
What's the latest?
this one was quite good. I was like, wait a minute. Especially, it was interesting because I saw it on my computer, then but I saw it first on my phone. And of course, I was just about to have lunch with my IT person. So it was perfect timing when I look down at the screen and I get this alert from NMLS. And I'm like, wait, there's nothing there to be alerted about right now. We would have updated everybody on it if there was some alert. Although there's a lot of people have not completed their little tasks they have to do about the checking the boxes and doing that stuff. It's due in August. You still have time.
Wait, do you know the numbers on that? Like how many people
No,
haven't
I
done
don't know
it?
how many people have done it, but I know some people have.
Okay.
They're loan officers. Come on, they procrastinate.
I haven't done it yet, and I need to. So there you go.
Okay,
Probably a
so
lot of them haven't done it.
Natalie, we will tell you. It took 5 minutes, maybe. Get on the phone with NMLS. Though it's a little confusing, part of it. You know how great they are if you call them; they're wonderful. And so just call them, because I almost ordered a new credit report and background check, which was not necessarily, but necessary.
Right.
And so it's a little there. That part of it isn't exactly clear, but it's click, click, click. It's really easy. But back to Kevin's point, there is so much crap coming at us as far as, these. What are they going to gain? By the way, by tricking us with NMLS?
Because then they're getting access. So this one that came out, so your 2026 MLS terms are renewing. Click this terms to agree. And that was like, wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Well, first of all, I knew things weren't changing. Number two, like, wait, they're going to ask me to click something right now. They're not telling me what I'm agreeing to. And then I went to, well, who sent me this email? And I clicked on the from on the NMLS update part, and it was some weird website. I'm like, okay, no, this is definitely phishing. A few minutes later,
yeah, that's what I mean. That's part of it, is I didn't even know if it was legit, because I keep seeing all these same thing. I'm getting lots of them, and I just am like not going to click on it. So
Natalie, if you watched our show. If you watched our show and you had your LOs watch our show, we had done a whole show on this a few months, like when it first came out, telling people what to do. And then we finally figured out that if we're going to talk about it, we might need to do it ourselves. I don't know. Doing this, it really keeps us on track when we're like, okay,
be on your toes. Well, I bet you.
I have a little challenge in our own company. Did this phishing thing that they made us take, right? We had to take this whole class. But
every company makes you do that. So
yes.
Yeah. This was an extra one, an extra new one.
And then part of it was they sent me a fake email. But the
Okay.
problem was I so quickly delete those fake emails. The instructions in the class were to I was supposed to forward it to IT or something like that to show that I've caught it. I'm like, no, it was gone before I ever had a chance to forward
That's
it
the spirit
anywhere.
of the law at work. I think you shouldn't be penalized for that. So,
That's what I'm thinking. It's like, what are you
yeah.
going to do about it? I deleted it. It's gone.
Well, we won't even talk about what percentage of my emails actually get opened, so it's not a high number.
Natalie, are you
It's
going to Mastermind by chance?
Yes, I am
Yes.
actually. I will be there. I'm flying out tomorrow. Rosemary David, my boss, is actually on the exec leadership panel that they have. So I'm going to go and support her and my coach, Cindy Ertman. The three of us are going to go together. So it should be fun.
So I
Oh,
will be
she's
in
great.
Las
She's been on
Vegas.
our show. She's been
Cindy's
on our show.
amazing. She's been my coach for almost 6 years now. She's the best coach.
Wow, wow, wow.
Yeah, she's
Hey, we're
awesome.
almost at the end. I just wanted to for a moment. So California Association of Mortgage Professionals is having their summer camp July. Kevin, can you help me here?
You're
It's in
asking.
July.
It is in July. And
Yes.
it
And it's
is.
later than I thought it was. Like maybe there's a 2 in front of the date. At least we're
It
prepared, so
is the
that's good.
23rd, 24th of July.
There we go. And it's in Irvine, so it's right across the street from an airport. Don't ask me which one. I have a bad track record of flying into the wrong place in LA. So anyway, thank you, Google. Tell us which airport is across the street from the Irvine, whatever that hotel is. Anyway, so again, it's good to get out in the world, people. It is so important to be around other originators, other professionals. We learn from each other. The energy that we share is really important. So come out and meet some people. You'll learn some things. It'll be good for you. You'll feel good. You'll have a good time. How about that? Okay. Oh, so somebody's saying send you the info. All right. Guadalupe, if you could just
Google it. Go to
email me, that'd be great. Yeah.
go
Oh,
to
yeah. Go. Thank
thecampsite.org.
you. That's a much better idea.
Thecampsite.org. Can't miss it.
Very good. And it's SITE, THECAMPSITE.org. Very good. Much better advice, Kevin. Thank you very much for that. And with that, I cannot believe we got to, I was so, if you'd seen me 3 minutes before this thing started,
You pulled it off without a
yeah,
hitch. Great
But
job.
it'll
we
be
didn't
better
see
next
anybody in the
time, Natalie.
background
It
though.
will. What?
Audrey, behind the window, you didn't see what was going on there.
I can only imagine. No. Well, I'm on the second story, actually. I think I'm probably safe up here. But I do realize I have had a bed in the background the whole time, which is not ideal. But, it's in an Italian villa. It's not terrible, right? All right.
Yeah, that's your sister's bed, so it's fine.
And her 5 kids. So, all right, kids. Have a wonderful week. There are tons of loans out there. Yes, you've got to work for it, but it's worth it because the average LO can't handle it. Go get one, close it. Natalie, thank you so much for being
Thank you
here.
for
It was an
having me.
absolute pleasure. And
Ditto.
mwah, have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week, you guys.
Bye-bye.